topic for the day is trigonometry, and it is a new topic for the students who reach grade 9 and 10. Be careful with the spelling trigonometry, so that's the way you write it. It's a branch of mathematics dealing with the relations of the sides and angles of triangles and with the relevant functions of any angles. So in simple words, it connects the sides and angles of triangles. Even from the word, you can say the measurement of triangles, where you have the angles and sides getting connected. Once you learn the trigonometric functions, you will see how to find the missing angles and sides without using the ruler or the protractor. You're going to use trigonometric functions for it. So this is an entirely new topic for you. Let us start with what you know. This is a right angle triangle. You can see the 90 degree here. Let me ask you, what is this side of a right angle triangle called? This is the hypotenuse, the longest side of a right angle triangle, which is exactly opposite to the 90 degree. So now you know that the longest side is the hypotenuse, and there is a right angle in a right angle triangle. The other two angles are acute. So these are the acute angles that you see. And then you know about the Pythagoras theorem that you have in a right angle triangle, where C is the hypotenuse here in this figure, and you say that A square plus B square is equal to C square. So that's what you already know. Now the new terms that you will learn is sine, cosine, tangent. The lesson objective is to find the trigonometric ratios sine, cos and tan for an acute angle in a right angle triangle, to find the unknown length of a side in a right angle triangle. So this is the lesson objective for the day, and let's see how can we do that. Now the first thing that we should understand is to label the sides. So how to do the labeling? Now from now I'll be using the letter H for the hypotenuse. The opposite side of an acute angle will be labeled with O, and the adjacent side will be labeled as A. So H, O and A. Now let me start with the angle here. This is the acute angle that I'm going to look for, which is at A. Now, starting with the hypotenuse. This is my 90 degree. So the side, which is the longest side opposite to the 90 degree, is my hypotenuse. I label it as H. Now H stands for the hypotenuse. Second is opposite. From my acute angle, when I look opposite, what do I see? This is the side BC. So my opposite side to the acute angle will be marked O. So this is the opposite side. Once you mark your O and H, the side which is remaining, or the side that is adjacent along this angle, is your A, which is the adjacent side. Now let me give you the turn. You have another figure, triangle ABC, which has an acute angle marked at C, the yellow one. So try if you can mark the H, O and A, the hypotenuse, opposite side and the adjacent, for the given acute angle. It's always easy if you start from the hypotenuse. Opposite to the 90 degree, you have your H. Then you go to mark your opposite side. You have to consider the angle, the acute angle, and you look opposite to the angle considered. So this is your opposite side, in this case, your O. And finally, the adjacent is the BC. The side BC is your adjacent side. Now from these figures, you can clearly make out that it's the hypotenuse that always remains the same because it's opposite to the 90 degree. But the O and A depends on the angle that you consider. In your first figure, your acute angle, the angle that you considered was A, so your opposite side is BC, which is coming exactly opposite to the acute angle. But in the second figure, you can see once you consider this angle C as the acute, you can see the side opposite is BA or AB. This is your opposite side. So make sure you understand that, and let me give you a quick activity for you to solve. Now in this quick activity, you have 6 figures given to you, and I have put the angles there in color. So the question here is to label the sides of the triangles below by looking at the angles marked as OA and H. So see if you can get them right. For the first figure, you have the angle here. I'll start with the hypotenuse. This is the 90 degrees, so this is my H. I look opposite, this is my O, and this is my A. So just stop the video and see if you can do it, and I'll be giving you the answers. Check your answers here. Now I'm sure that you're confident in labeling the sides. Moving on to the ratio of the sides. Ratio means we are taking the fractions. Now again, you have something new. Here the angle, the missing angle, is labeled as theta. So any unknown angle can be labeled as theta, phi, alpha or beta. Now these are all Greek letters. We have used X, Y, A, B, C for unknown variables. Now for angles, we prefer using the Greek letters. If this is new to you, you can just draw a box and take note of it. The first ratio that we take here is opposite over hypotenuse. I'll be using the letters, the short form O and H here. The second ratio is A over H, which is adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and finally O over A, which is opposite side over the adjacent side. Now my ratio for the sides are ready. Now I have a self-research for you. Now before we move on, we should know the trigonometric functions, which is the sine, the cosine and the tangent functions. Now the sine will be written in short as SI and sine, and don't read it as sin, it's not sin, it's sine. Cosine is written abbreviated as cos, and tangent can be written in short as tan, T-A-N. Now from the figure O over H, okay, so this is the angle opposite, hypotenuse and adjacent. O over H is 4 over 5. A over H, the adjacent, is 3 over 5. And the opposite side over the adjacent, O over A, is 4 over 3. So I have put the fractions from the figure. Now I want you to consider the angle for theta as 53.1. and try to find the value for sine theta, cos theta and tan theta. Now how to find it, let me take you to the calculator. In your calculator, if you look here, you have the sine, cos and tan. So this is where you find it. Okay, so if the angle is 60, you press sine and then 60. Now I have asked you to find 53.1, so you press on sine and then you go to your number keys and type 53.1 and you just press equal to, you should get the answer there. So from your calculator you should get these values. Sine 53.1 is 0.8, cos 53.1 is 0.6 and 53.1 tan 53.1 is 1.3. So you can see that which is exactly coinciding with these ratios. Now sine theta, sine 53.1 is again giving you the value for 0.8. Cos will be giving you 3 over 5 and tan is giving you 4 over 3. Now let me summarize the trigonometric ratios for you in terms of the ratio of the sides. Sine A is given by O over H, the opposite side over the hypotenuse. Cos A is given by adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and tan A is equal to the opposite side over the adjacent side. So this is the trigonometric ratios that we are going to use to find a missing side or an angle. It looks a bit confusing and difficult to memorize. Let me give the short form of it. Let me make it easier. You have to just memorize SOH-CAH-TOA. So if you remember this key word, trigonometric ratio is so simple. SOH-CAH-TOA. So this is the strategy or the key that you're going to use to find questions from right angle triangles and finding the missing side or the missing angle. So SOH-CAH-TOA. Keep saying the word maybe 5 to 10 times, and in 2-3 days it should just be with you. SOH-CAH-TOA. SOH-CAH-TOA. So SOH, this stands for sine. O is opposite. And this is hypotenuse. Ka is C for cos, A for adjacent. So this is going to give you hypotenuse, H. T for tan, O for opposite side, and A for adjacent. So fill in the missing words in the pyramids. If it's SOH, remember the sine of the angle is going to be equal to, so you write sine theta is the angle. So sine theta is going to be equal to SOH. SOH means it's opposite over hypotenuse, O over H. Cos, so cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And finally, tan theta is equal to TOA, OA. You have O and A. Now let's apply SOH-CAH-TOA to the given questions to find the missing sides. You have a triangle there, and the question is to find x. Starting with step 1, label the sides. Okay. My acute angle, I'll be taking this angle H, O, and A. Step 1 done. Step 2, decide the correct ratio to be taken. So this is one challenging part where students find it difficult to decide on which ratio to be taken. Is it the sine, cos, or tan? So you have, let me write SOH-CAH-TOA here. SOH-CAH-TOA. Look for the known and unknown. So you have the angle here, so your theta is ready, 76, no problem. Now the issue is which ratio to take. Now you can see the known is H and the unknown is O. Now O and H, which trigonometric ratio, whether is it the sine, cos, or tan that connects O and H? Look at the alphabets. You have O and H here. So straight away you decide that it is the sine that is going to be used. So sine theta is O over H. So my sine, my theta, the angle here is 76, is going to be O. My opposite is X over my hypotenuse is 16 centimeter. Now what will you do next? Cross multiply. So you have 16 multiplied by sine 76 is your x. Use your calculator. So when you write the answer, make sure you write the answer to 3 SF. This is your final answer to 3 SF. Now I have to talk about some common errors seen here. Now when you cross multiply 16, do not type sin 76 multiplied by 16. The answer which is an error. Okay. So or if you want to do this, you can type it like sin 76 inside the brackets, then you multiply by 16. So that the sign is only applicable to the angle 76. Now this will give you the same answer, but this, if you type it like this, it is a big error. Now let me give you some more questions to solve and see whether you can do it by yourself. So find the unknown length of a side in a right angle triangle, and here is the summary of the steps that you need to follow. Number 1, label the sides H, O and A. Decide the correct ratio to be taken, whether it's sin, tan or cos, and connect the missing in the given sides. So you have the letters OH or AH or OA. For the letters, remember SOH-CAH-TOA and fix the function. That equation should give the solution for your missing side. So let me put the questions for you. Now the first one was already done. You can go for the second and the third question. Now let's increase the difficulty level. Find the value of the missing variables. You have x and y given in the figure, for which you have to find the values. You can see two right triangles here. So we can start from the first one, or those who find it confusing to do it from this figure, you can just split the triangles into two and then start. Now for both the triangles you have x meter, which is the common side. Starting with the first triangle, step 1 is labeling. So you have the 90 degree here. This is my H angle, so opposite to it this is O and A. So the two sides, you have 10 meters, which is known, and x is the unknown. So O and H. So let me write SOH-CAH-TOA here. So the ratio that connects O and H is sine. So I'll write sine 30 is equal to O over H, which is SOH-CAH-TOA. So sine 30 is equal to x over 10. Cross multiplying, you have 10 multiplied by sine 30, giving you x. So 10 sine 30, use your calculator, and the value is 5. So x is going to be 5 meters. Use the same units. So 5 meter is the value for x. Now since you have got 5 here, you're going to use the same value of 5 in this triangle, starting with the same rule, labeling first. So this is the 90 degrees. So H here, the side opposite is labeled here, and Y is your adjacent. So you have O and A. We don't have to talk about H here. So O and A. So that's a clear tan that you will use. So tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So tan 42 is going to be OO is X, which is already found to be 5 meters. So 5 over the adjacent is Y. You cross multiply. Y times tan 42 is equal to 5. Now your aim is to find the value for Y. So the tan 42 will be removed, moving into the other side. So it's 5 divided by tan 42. That gives you the value for Y, which is Y equals 5.55 meters to 3 SF. That's the answer. Now in this question, find the value of the missing variable X here. Here again you have two right triangles which are overlapping over the other. So let me just separate them for you. You have the 90 degree here, which is a smaller right triangle, and another bigger one. The smaller one will go for an angle of 40 degree, and this is your 25 centimeter or meter. The sides are measured in meters, and you have the larger triangle which says this side is 25 meters, which is a common side, the common side for both the triangles. And you have this angle, so 40 plus 10, giving you a 50 degree. Now where does this X lie in both these triangles? That's the problem. You can see that for the longer triangle, you have the green. So from these triangles, let me say that the value for X is nothing but the length of the green line, the longer line, minus the length of the shorter red line. So I will be marking the smaller one as A, let this length be A, and this length be B. So X is going to be B minus A. So B is my green line, from which I'm going to subtract the length of the red, which is A. So if you're able to figure out this equation, you have the answer. Starting with the labeling, O, H, A. So O and A, it's going to be tan 40, giving me A over 25. So my A is equal to, you cross multiply, so 25 times tan 40. For the second figure, again the labeling, O, H, A. So O and A tan, so tan 50 is equal to B over 25. I've just written O over A, which is O is B and A is 25. So my B here is, again, after cross multiplying, I get 25 times tan 50. So let me come back to my equation there. X is equal to 25 tan 50 minus 25 tan 40. Use your calculator. and you will get the value as x equals 8.8163, and to 3SF my answer is 8.82 meters. To 3SF the answer is 8.82 meters. That's it. So one thing that I would like to say, it's not necessary that every time you try to find the value for each step. No, you can just substitute it and keep it for the end to get an accurate answer. Another question. Here you can see 3 triangles getting connected, and the question is again find the missing variable, and you can see x missing variable for us. One thing to be noted is that you have sides which are getting connected. You can see the green and the red sides there. So even though the missing side is here and all that we know here is a 30-degree angle, we need one more known side so that we can find the value for x. So in order to find this side, we are using the second triangle. Okay, let me just number it. 1, 2, 3. To find the side, we have to use the second triangle. And the problem with the second triangle is again that you have just the angle and no sides known. So we have to start from the first triangle, which can help us to find the red side. So we are going to find this side first. And using the red, we'll find the green and finally the value for x. So that is the plan. So we're going to start with the first triangle here. We have the angle 40. Step 1, labeling. So the opposite side, the hypotenuse and the adjacent. Opposite is what we have to find, and we have the adjacent 7 meters given to us. So O and A, again I have SOH-CAH-TOA here, O and A, so it's a tan that I have to use. I'll write tan 40 is equal to O over A. So tan 40 equals O over 7. So from this, when I cross multiply, 7 multiplied by tan 40 is the value for O. For the accuracy of your final answer, it is always better not to simplify or to find the value for this now. So use O is equal to 7 tan 40. So we have found O, the line, the red line, the side of this triangle is 7 tan 40. Now coming to the second triangle here, our aim is to find this side. So let's start labeling. The angle here, this is H, the opposite side, and now this side acts as an adjacent side to the second triangle. Not to confuse you, it was the opposite side for this angle 40, but when you're considering this triangle, for the angle 50, the opposite side is here, the green one, and this turns out to be the adjacent side. So, O and A. Again, the ratio that you're going to use, the trigonometric function, is tan. Tan 50 is equal to O over A. So tan 50 is equal to O over, my A is 7 tan 40. If you type 7 tan 40 in your calculator, you should get 5.873697. You can see it is a value which is not terminating. So for the accuracy of my answer, I'll just keep it like this. To find O, I'm going to cross multiply 7 tan 40 multiplied by tan 50 is my O. Now use the calculator and you will get a whole number answer, which is O is equal to 7 meters. So this is how the calculation part goes, and you get the 7 meter there. Okay. And now reaching the final triangle where you have the missing variable x. So this is the 90 degree, you have 30 here, and this is 7 that you have already found. So starting with the labeling, O, H and A. So O and H, so O and H you have sine 30 is going to be opposite over hypotenuse, sine 30 giving you x over 7. So cross multiply 7 multiplied by sine 30 gives you the x, which is 3.50 to 3 SF. So this is the value for x. X is equal to 3.50 meters. Now in this question, there's one more thing which I would like to share. Now the aim of solving this question is to get you connected on the methods that you can use to find the missing sides of the connected triangles. Now if you look from here, you have a 90 degree, you have a 90 degree here. So you can see that these are parallel lines. So you can also use parallel lines properties to find the value of this side, or even that the triangles are congruent. That can also be used provided you have proper justification.